Reporting time. Hello, recorders. I'm reporting to you live from Anime Las Vegas. I am here with a very amazing guest. I am here with Ben Diskin. He's known for so many work from Western animation to anime. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm just so excited to have you. Anyway, let's go back to the early stages of your career, like working on Kindergarten Cop. What was it like working on such a big budget film with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh yeah, that was insane. They made an entire playground for the kids on the Universal Studio lot. We flew up to Oregon. We rented giant hotel rooms and flew kites all day. It was a giant vacation disguised as a job. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And also, did you ever ask Arnold, can you say, "I'll be back"?
No, I did not bother him to make a bunch of quotes for me. No, because also, well, I wouldn't have seen like Terminator when I was a kid. I would have gotten in a lot of trouble if I watched that movie.
Yeah, I understand. Especially how voice actors get asked so many times to do like voices. Especially one of your most requested is doing a Eugene from Hey Arnold. What was your experience like working on Hey Arnold?
Oh, Hey Arnold was cool. Hey Arnold was basically a whole bunch of kids brought together to play kids, which at the time was really unheard of. Most of the time it's adults playing little kids doing like a little kid voice, and they said, no, for this series we want all real kids. And so it was a nightmare wrangling all of us because we all wanted to have fun and play, and they had to like get us to sit down and sit still and do our job, but it was really fun.
And also, speaking of kids, Kids Next Door, which is like a millennials, like one of the staples of their childhoods. Looking back on the show, like, how'd you come up with the voices for number ones and number two?
So number two, I came up with just by looking at the character. I was like, oh, he's a nerd. I'm a nerd. I get that. I'm just gonna I'm gonna do a little nerd voice, and hopefully they like it. And when I tried out for him, the director, Tom Warburton, already had somebody in mind for that character. And then he went, oh man, I'm gonna have to tell that other person. I'm gonna go with Ben instead. And then for number one, they originally hired a real British little boy to play the character. His voice unfortunately changed, so they went, we have to recast him right now. And then they went, Ben, can you do a British voice? And I said, I can do a British voice. And that's how I wound up playing both of the different characters.
Also, like like you're in a lot of projects where you voice like multiple characters, like in KND. How is it for you as an actor being able to balance like multiple personalities at the same time?
Oh, it's easy. I'm insane. Yeah, I have mental problems. No, I find it's pretty easy to categorize everybody. Kind of make a little compartment in my brain for where each character lives. So I just kind of do that anyway, just making up nonsense by myself.
Also, did the creator of Kids Next Door, did you listen to any pitches he had for Galactic Kids Next Door?
I was part of the original pitch for Galactic Kids Next Door to try to get that to happen, and boy howdy has he been trying to shop that around, and no takers. So, I mean, we're still kind of constantly trying to see if anybody's willing to give it a shot, but, it's tough.
I understand. It seems like you guys have more of an advantage if, say, a streaming like Max or Netflix, if they want to pick it up.
Yeah, but unfortunately they're owned by the same people who said no the first time. So, we gotta just keep hitting that door. Eventually it might creak open, but I know he wants to do it and I want to do it too.
Yeah, me too. And especially like also transitioning on to anime, like what's been your experience of playing Joseph Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre?
Joseph is really fun. He is probably the zaniest of the main protagonist characters in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so getting to just sort of cut loose constantly in the voiceover booth is like exhausting, but it's also really fun. So like that was like this. It was an experience of, oh my god, I'm so tired, and also, oh my god, this is so awesome, and then, oh my god, I'm so tired again. So it was like a very hectic schedule, but really fun session overall.
Oh, that's great. And also like you also got to work on this recently, the reboot of Digimon. Like how'd you prepare to like come up with Agumon and all of his evolution voices?
Yeah. So for that, originally I was like, oh well, if they're going for a reboot, don't they want like Tom Fawn to come back and play Agumon? And so I originally sent in an audition that was me doing an impression of his version of the character, and they said, we want something that's a little bit more like the Japanese, so we want you to be a little bit scratchier and a little bit more gravelly. And I said, okay. And so I gave them a performance that I thought sounded different enough from a different character called Shoutmon, who I also played. And they said, that's good. And I got into the booth, we started doing Agumon, and I said, hey, so who's playing Greymon? And they said, we don't know yet. And I said, oh, okay. And I recorded a few more lines as Agumon. And then they said, hey, if you were going to do Greymon, what would it sound like? And I was like, how about this? And I did a voice, and they went, okay, you're Greymon. And I went, what? And they went, yeah, you know what? Why don't you just be all of Agumon's Digimon forms? And I went, you sure? And they went, uh-huh. And so every single one of those was just like me in the booth going, here's what I think sounds good. What do you think? And they were like, yeah, that works. So it was just like very spur of the moment. But yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, you did a hell of a job with that. And also, like, another thing is that you got to work with Zeno Robinson on Digimon, but before that, you actually came to a class of his to like sort of teach voice acting a little bit. Like from your own experience, like what do you think it's important that you want the next generation of aspiring voice actors to know?
Know your worth. That's basically what it is. The industry is a really wonderful, fun place, but there are also some kind of predatory employers who will try to squeeze you for every dime you're worth, and you will wind up working for less than you deserve. And so it's all about, it's not about being egotistical. It's about realizing that, hey, you're an important part of this and being treated fairly. So I would just say, like, keep an eye out for people who are maybe not treating you so well.
Anyway, to wrap things up on a final note, well, Ben, what do you got going on in your life? What's next for you?
Currently, it's going to be Mashal Season 2 on Crunchyroll, and some stuff I can't talk about yet, but they're coming out soon.
And also, like, of these mysterious projects, like, it seems that a lot is going towards streaming. Do you think that's also going to be the future of, like, getting jobs in voiceover? It's, like, mostly, like, streaming, like, shows like Invincible.
Oh, yeah, no, the streaming is definitely the future. It's the present, if you ask me. Yeah, like, everything's kind of going to streaming services right now. Like, the old media, like Toonami and stuff like that, it's hanging in there, but I feel like eventually that's going to kind of fade away, and we're all going to be on the streaming platforms now instead of cable, which is now somehow more expensive to have all the streaming services than it was to have cable. So, but it's still fun. It's still a good industry to be a part of. I'll say that.
Yeah, and also YouTube shows like Hell of a Boss, which is on YouTube. Like that seems to also be opportunities. Do you see it that way too?
Oh yeah, no, independent creators, I think, are definitely the future of original animation. I mean, we keep seeing all sorts of new original content that's just like a group of animators got together and said, we have this idea, we're going to just make it and put it out there, sell merchandise, earn a profit, and then turn that profit into a new episode. I mean, like, and that's, I think, where things are ultimately going to go, because some of the older way of doing things, they're struggling to keep up with a lot of these newer creators who just show up on the internet, make something, and it gets 300 million views on its pilot episode. Yeah. Looking at you, Digital Circus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those things. I think it's definitely the future, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ben. Thank you so much for tuning in. Recorders, please follow Ben on all his social medias. Please hit that subscribe button, comment down below, and catch you next time.
Bye-bye.